The New Blood. John, I'm gonna let you take this one if you don't mind, because I know that
No, I don't mind.
Saw this in theaters actually. So
I actually saw that one in cinemas. I had seen Jason Lives on the big screen and was totally hooked on the franchise. Basically, Jason Voorhees meets Carrie. At part 7, they mixed it up. I mean, they mixed it up with part 6 when Jason became a zombie. But part 7, it's the same setup. Stock characters, the geek, the hunk, the slut. I mean, me, by the way. You sexy flame, yeah. All get into a cabin. Jason's around. He whacks him. That's it. But now, right now, you got a girl with psychic powers like Carrie. It becomes like a huge showdown. Like the last act of that film is absolutely incredible in terms of the stunt work. The scene in the basement where she like controls the nails and they'll go in his face, and Mr. Otter
pulls it out. Yeah.
Just really brought, I guess, my version of the character, my favorite version of the character to life with the heaving and the menacing, and he's pissed off. He's pissed off Jason. That's basically it. He's pissed off Jason because in part 2, 3, 4, he's pissed off, but he's more like, what's the word? I gotta be careful. Mentally challenged, pissed off. All right? That worked? Okay. In this one, he's just fucking pissed. You know what? He's like an old man, Get off my lawn, that kind of shit. He just wants to chill at the lake, and these assholes keep showing up, wanting to party, smoke some grass, and have sex, and fuck up his shit. So he just wants him out of there. Yeah, man, it's Kane really, he's Terminator Jason, man. He doesn't give a fuck. He plows through people. Part 7, it has, all of the bases covered except one thing, really, the gore.
The MPA, right? Yeah.
Yes. It's funny because you look at part 7 and then you look at the gore and say Jason Goes to Hell or even Jason X, which we're going to talk about. And you're like, wow, it's funny how time changes, So part 7, unfortunately, director and special effects genius, the late, can't believe he passed actually, John Carl Buechler, really went all out. He gave me my favorite Jason look with the revealed spine and everything, the jaw, maggots all over the place. They actually cut a lot of that stuff out because the MPA thought it was too revolting. He would have maggots eating at his face and in his mouth and shit like that. You kind of still see it sometimes, but for the most part, they kind of obscured it. But yeah, the MPAA were assholes.
Specifically for this one, I know they...
And part 8 as well.
Yeah,
but come on, it's drier than my grandma,
I'll say part 8, but this one, it seems like they had the bigger heart on. I mean, of all the Jasons, this is the one that every time I do research, it's like, this is the one they took down. And it's
because there was a lot of gore and a lot of effects in part 7. I mean, if you look at part 7 and part 8, in my opinion, part 7 is still more violent because part 8 adjusted to the MPAA. So yeah, the gore, and for a long time, I'm sure you guys, old school horror fans, we all wanted that uncut version. And of course, if I remember correctly, we actually got to see some of the deleted footage in the Scream Factory Blu-ray. Yeah. But the footage was not taken care of, so it came off. So they couldn't do a proper director's cut.
Same with like Event Horizon. The footage was damaged to the point where anything slapped. Exactly. It's scratchy and it's more of a deleted scene. Like you said, they can't add it back in.
But still, it says a lot about the movie that even with less gore, it still freaking works. It's still really engaging. It has probably my favorite token. Oh, this whole word thing is so annoying. Loose woman. In the film, which
promiscuous. Just say promiscuous. That's
promiscuous. But she's a bitch too. She's a bitch.
Melissa.
Yeah, Melissa. Melissa, played by the. I got my notes. Played by the. Oh no, that's part 9. Played by the Susan Sullivan. I can't. She has a middle name, but I can't make out my writing. So he's going to check.
Jennifer.
I think so. I think you're right. Yeah.
It is some sort of like Eastern European name. Like, no, it's Jennifer. There it is. Yeah.
She was actually awesome. The guy that played the Shrink a proper term? Can I say Shrink?
You should just start with Bernie fucking Lomax.
Why do these things always happen to me?
Yeah,
Bernie, for you, he's the guy from Weekend at fucking Bernie's.
Yeah. Well,
for me, he's the mafioso in Three's Company.
Stays out all night long. Boys will be boys.
Wow, time difference. Yeah, I mean,
That's how far I go. Dude,
Okay.
he came up with my favorite line, which I still use to this day. In Three's Company, kids, it's about a guy who moves in with two girls, which was like, this is the 70s, you know, which was, you know, a faux pas. And he pretends that he's gay, so the landlord lets him stay there. And in one episode, Mr. Terry Kaiser, that was his real name.
Terry Kaiser, yeah.
He plays a mafioso, and he's talking to one of the girls at a restaurant, and he's in love with her. And the girl is trying to dissuade him to be with her. And she's like, you know, my husband, he's violent. You know, when he gets home, he beats on the kids, you know? And I'm, well, a man's got to relax.
He's always drunk and then he beats on our kids.
Man's got to relax, right?
But anyways, for me, that's who that guy was. See him get whacked by Jason was a trip.
We played a good bad guy in this. I mean, I would actually argue, we should say, that Tina's entire foe in this movie is almost not Jason at all. I mean, she fights him at the very end, but it's Dr. Cruz.
Yeah.
It's a mafioso. It's Bernie Lomax. He's the real villain.
It's just not working.
Do you want to throw this all away? I mean, we're at a very critical point right now. Do you want to see your daughter in the hospital for the rest of her life? Is that what you want?
Jason's just trying to hang out at Camp Crystal Lake and you know, be left alone. I mean, well, maybe not, but yeah, they keep coming to him, so he has the rights of property in this sort of action. So yeah.
Yeah, no, and he's great at it. He's a great scumbag in the movie. And that's why, if you remember the original kill, finally Jason throws him on the ground. He has this like giant weed whacker, which I don't even know if that exists, like practically.
It has like a saw.
Yeah, exactly, like a saw, you know. And then, you know, well, he puts it down and that's it. That's the kill. And you're going, it's kind of like jerking off for like half an hour and you just get a drop, you know? So the original scene, obviously, the thing went in, got his fucking insides roped around it and everything, but it all got cut out.
Yeah, that was a big one for the MPA, I know, because I've seen the deleted scenes in that. Yeah, it's like real digging in, blood's on his face. It's a good one, yeah.
What about you? You dig
it?
I
mean, well, I mean, not to sound like a broken record here. So this has always been my favorite, which most of my life was a normal thing. It's actually become more controversial. You know, because as generations change, I think and I get it, like what, you know, you grow up with something being told how cool it is, the younger generation always goes the opposite way. So I think there's been a weird sway on number 7, which, I mean, I don't really care, but it's just interesting to think, because I've always thought that it's the best look for sure. It has all the wounds from every previous entry in continuity order. The masking is my favorite. He looks the coolest. He's never looked as cool. He looks like a pirate. He has that jaw that moves. Yeah, he looks
and that's
so
from
good.
The machete on the side of the face, you know, in part 4.
Which makes him look like the pirate. Yeah. So I would say it's always been my favorite because I think the look is the best, and I agree. This is the most personality Jason has ever had, and that's because Kane invented the personality. Before this, when it was, and I love 6 to death, and I understand why 6 is people's favorites. I really do. It's a far more rock and roll. This kind of switched gears. And number 6 was like a little more tongue in cheek at times. Well, not at times. It's a fucking Bond opening, so. It's tongue in cheek. It's a lot more pop. It's a lot more fast. This is a little more slow paced and goes serious. That being said, Kane sells it. I love the look. I love how mean he is. You said something in a review, which is funny. I'm going to bring up because I've always thought of it. And I don't think the reviews are online anymore, but you called him Raging Bull Jason. So I remember in high school, I was like, that makes sense because he's just so upset, you know? Beekler coming from the special effects background makes sense. That's why this was so cool. And I didn't know this actually until recently, that he came from the Charlie Band side of things. He came from Empire. So of course, Reanimator and From Beyond and all the kind of full moonish movies. It's like, this guy does things on the cheap and knows how to do it right. I think his directing's fine. I think his directing is very competent. I mean, this isn't a stylistic movie. It's meant to show the kills. And in terms of the kills we got, the sleeping bag, there's one where he throws his fist through the guy's stomach and then breaks his neck.
Yeah.
Melissa, after being such a bitch the entire movie, she gets a hatch to the face and he throws her. Over the TV.
Yeah, I love that bit. Yeah. He ain't fucking around, you know?
No. He does I think one of the better head crushes to the guy in the van.
That's the birthday guy, right?
Yeah, the birthday guy. He puts his girl.
The girl gets the meat.
And also, hold on, let me jump back. Probably the only time I feel like they really developed, besides Tommy Jarvis, of course, like a good lead. Tina, played by Lar Park Lincoln.
Lar Park Lincoln, yeah.
Like, After we watched this, I was like surprised how much they developed her character, especially in the movie that we're like, we don't really care. Let's be honest. The thing about Jason, and especially in this later entries, I'm a big zombie Jason guy because like I was young when I saw him, but I grew up in like Power Rangers and shit. So to me, Jason's always been a guy I rooted for. I've never been scared of him. And I understand if people were, but like it was too old for me at the time. So I've always been on his side. So this is a good movie for me where I'm like, I'm rooting for Jason, yet Tina in Lar Park Lincoln and her PTSD and her carry-like powers, I thought was my favorite protagonist besides Jarvis. And I might actually think she's better developed than Jarvis. I think Jarvis just had more movies. But I know that might be controversial. But I mean, great actress. Seemed like I bought everything she did. And then again, Bernie Lomax as just Dr. Cruz being a sleazy guy, man.
I can't expect you to understand this highly complicated process that is integral to your daughter's treatment.
Liar! I can see what you've been doing.
I would argue Angry Zombie Raging Bull Jason is the absolute best. And this is probably the pinnacle of it. This, I mean, to do a 7th movie and to me be my favorite, I think is unheard of. So.
And in a way, it's a bit of a shame because this was Kane's first, but it's also his best, in my opinion.
It's his golden eye. It's a Pierce Brosnan. It's like,
Good call.
yeah. I mean, but it doesn't matter because it'll always happen. And we'll talk about 8, 9, and 10. And I actually like a lot of those other ones besides one of them. But I will agree, though, you never got better than this.
One thing always bothered me in Part 7, and I know it was either Paramount or the MPAA, I'm not sure who imposed it, is that at the end of the movie, the dad comes out, And initially, the dad came out, he was obviously in the lake for 20 years or whatever, so he comes out and he's all fucked up. But
he was supposed to be,
you know what I mean? He was like, he looked, like a corpse, but they had it reshot it. And now the dad comes out, he looks like he just came out of fucking shower. He looks absolutely normal. And I always thought that was really cheesy. I was kind of like,
because he comes out, he has like a little mud in his face, and it's like he brings Jason down. It's like, but Jarvis had to tie Jason to a rock just to keep him from coming up and killing.
Yeah.
And in this old man,
not this champ.
Just some 45-year-old man with like a dad bod just brings him on down, and that's how it ends.
Yeah, with his Walmart shirt, and he just gets that Jason down.
It's lame. It's lame. That's a good point. It's a bad ending, man. It's a bad ending. I
just want to point out that the score, we have the classic Friday 13 score by Harry. His last name? Come on,
Manfredini, I believe.
That's right. Woohoo!
Oh, hopefully I'm never that good. Maybe there's a vowel somewhere,
I'll take it. How about that? On this one, a gentleman named Fred Mullen added to it. And I always thought it's a bit like of a revamp score. It's a bit creepier, I find. I don't remember how it was creepier, but it was. And it was, I think there was more echo with that. There you go. All that to say, the score rocked. The movie rocks. The ending shit. More gore would have been nice, but...
We both agree it's an amazing movie, and that says something with the lack of gore.
So let me guess. We're moving to Part 8. And if I know my Lance, you love the shit out of it, don't you?
I do.
Shit.
You think I'm fucking with you?
Welcome to the end screen. Because we have our most popular videos up here, our latest videos over here, our modern reviews up here, and of course, the subscribe button right here, guys. Every little bit counts, and we do appreciate the support.